Serena Williams was hoping to be queen of the court at Wimbledon, but she found her match in a Romanian player, her good friend, the Duchess of Sussex.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding.
Here's proof that Kate Middleton is ready to be queen.
What happens when one of the greatest athletes of all time chooses a royal figure as her ultimate role model? And why does that choice say more about the future of fame, influence, and authenticity than we might think? Imagine this: one of the most celebrated athletes in history, a woman who has broken records, shattered barriers, and redefined what it means to be unstoppable, suddenly names a royal figure, not a fellow celebrity, as the person who inspires her most. Why would Serena Williams, who has dominated tennis and life itself, point to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, as her ultimate role model?
During so much of my life and duty, with Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales.
Could it be Catherine's unwavering composure under global scrutiny? Her ability to balance motherhood, public duties, and personal challenges with grace? Or is it something deeper? A quiet strength that Serena sees mirrored in her own journey of resilience and ambition? And here's the question that gets everyone talking. What does this admiration reveal about the shifting landscape of influence in 2025? Are we moving away from flash and fame toward leaders who act with authenticity, courage, and purpose? Stay tuned, because this story uncovers not just the admiration of a superstar for a royal, but the blueprint of modern leadership, influence, and the power of leading by example. The crown meets the court. It starts not on the tennis court, not in a palace, but in the unexpected space where two icons, one of sport, one of royalty, collide in admiration. Serena Williams, the powerhouse who conquered tennis like few before her, decided to make a statement that has reverberated across celebrity circles and royal corridors alike. In her latest interview, instead of leaning on old associations or well-worn names, she pivoted toward Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and declared her as the figure who inspires her above all others. That single choice, Serena lifting Catherine rather than indulging in familiar Hollywood chatter, sent a wave of curiosity through audiences. Why Catherine? Why now? And what does this say about the changing tides of fame, power, and influence in 2025? Serena's words weren't empty. They carried weight, sharpened by her own history of resilience and survival, and by the very public scrutiny she herself has endured. With Catherine, she saw something rare, a form of strength that doesn't demand attention, yet commands respect. It was not a fleeting shout-out. It was a crown jewel of praise that redefined the conversation. This is the story of how the Princess of Wales became more than a royal figurehead. This is the story of how she emerged as a model of authenticity, admired by one of the world's greatest athletes, right at a time when Hollywood allegiances are shifting and the public eye is hungrier than ever for genuine examples of leadership. And as we unravel Serena's declaration, the threads of this story weave through Catherine's life, from her middle-class upbringing in Berkshire to her transformation into a global symbol of grace and resolve. So let's begin where the admiration started to crystallize. Serena's game-changing praise. When Serena Williams sat down for her most recent high-profile interview, fans expected her to sidestep any questions about Meghan Markle, once counted among her close circle. Instead, she surprised everyone by redirecting the spotlight. She spoke of Catherine, not with passing admiration, but with an emotional conviction that left no doubt about the depth of her respect. She said she looks up to women who stay grounded, even when surrounded by scrutiny and noise. To Serena, Catherine embodies this ideal. In her words, Catherine is someone who doesn't bend to negativity, who continues to press forward with quiet assurance. It wasn't about glamour or headlines, it was about substance. Insiders quickly noticed the significance. Serena's admiration came at a moment when reports suggested that Hollywood executives were cooling their stance toward Meghan and her ventures. While some industry insiders whispered about failed projects and fading enthusiasm, Serena's deliberate focus on Catherine stood out as a sharp contrast, almost a silent declaration of where she believes real strength lies. But to really understand why Serena would make this pivot, you have to rewind. This wasn't the first time Catherine had inspired her. In 2018, while adjusting to life as a new mother after giving birth to her daughter Olympia,
Tennis star Serena Williams gave birth this afternoon, and then this afternoon gave birth to a 6-pound, 13-ounce little girl.
Serena was already openly praising Catherine. InStyle magazine quoted Serena marveling at Catherine's composure when she appeared before the public just hours after giving birth to Prince Louis. Serena called her one heck of a woman, reflecting admiration that came from first-hand understanding. She knew the physical and emotional toll of childbirth, the exhaustion, the vulnerability. For Serena, Catherine's ability to step into the public eye with grace so soon after giving birth wasn't about tradition or duty. It was about courage. That respect, seeded years earlier, has now grown into a full endorsement in 2025. Serena has seen Catherine rise through personal struggles, public expectations, and even health battles. And her decision to lift Catherine at this moment feels like more than coincidence. It feels like a statement of values. Catherine's rise, from student to symbol. Why does Catherine resonate so powerfully, not just with Serena, but with millions worldwide? The answer lies in her journey, one that was never about shortcuts, but about consistency, resilience, and an instinct for authenticity. Born Catherine Middleton in 1982 to a middle-class family in Berkshire, she grew up in a household that valued work ethic, education, and community. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, ran a party supplies business, teaching Catherine the value of building something from the ground up. Unlike royal predecessors raised in gilded bubbles, Catherine's roots were relatable, human, and grounded. At Marlborough College, she thrived both academically and athletically, excelling in subjects and sports like field hockey and tennis. Afterward, she spent a gap year in Chile with Raleigh International, embracing outdoor work and global awareness. Those experiences broadened her worldview and toughened her character, shaping the qualities that would later shine in royal life. Then came St. Andrews University, where she studied art history and famously crossed paths with Prince William. Their romance began not as a fairy tale spectacle, but as a friendship nurtured in classrooms, dining halls, and shared love for sports. The world remembers their 2011 wedding watched by billions.
Prince William made Kate Middleton his bride in front of an estimated 2 billion people around.
But what mattered more was the partnership that grew from those university days. Unlike some who step into royal life with drama or headlines, Catherine leaned into responsibility quietly, with purpose. She carved out a niche by focusing on issues that matter deeply, but don't always grab tabloids: mental health, early childhood development, and sustainable living. Her initiatives, from the Heads Together campaign in 2016 to the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood, launched in 2021, became hallmarks of her public service. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, her Hold Still photography project captured resilience across Britain, blending her love of art with empathy for ordinary people. Fashion, too, became a reflection of her values. Instead of chasing extravagance, she embraced sustainability, often re-wearing pieces by Alexander McQueen or pairing designer outfits with high-street brands. It wasn't just style, it was a message that even a princess could champion accessibility. This steady, consistent approach earned her respect far beyond palace walls. Celebrities, world leaders, and everyday families began to see her as a role model who embodied modern monarchy without sacrificing authenticity. And for Serena, who herself has fought to balance athletic dominance with motherhood and advocacy, Catherine's path became a mirror, a reflection of strength forged not by noise, but by quiet perseverance. The turning point in public perception The resonance of Serena's praise becomes even clearer when you consider Catherine's resilience during her most recent personal challenges. In early 2024, Catherine underwent major abdominal surgery, which was initially described as non-cancerous, but later she revealed that it had led to a cancer diagnosis. For a royal family already under intense scrutiny, the news shook the nation. Yet Catherine's response became one of her defining moments. Instead of hiding away or crafting sterile statements, she addressed the public directly through a heartfelt video message in March 2024.
It was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer.
She spoke candidly about her diagnosis and her ongoing treatment, showing vulnerability but also immense courage. Millions watched, and for many, it was a rare, raw connection to a royal who has often been described as poised but private. Her return to public duties later that year, including appearances at Trooping the Colour and Wimbledon, was not just symbolic. It was proof of her resilience. She walked back into the public eye, not as someone untouchable, but as someone who had faced fear and come through it with dignity. For Serena Williams, who had nearly lost her life to postpartum complications in 2017, the parallels were impossible to ignore. Both women had endured health crises under the weight of public expectation. Both had emerged as advocates, not just survivors. For Serena, Catherine's comeback wasn't just admirable, it was personal. This connection, forged across tennis courts and palace gates, is why Serena's words in 2025 resonate so strongly. When she said she looks up to Catherine, it wasn't a passing comment. It was a recognition of shared battles and shared strength. So here we are in 2025, with Serena Williams making headlines not for another Grand Slam, but for the clarity of her admiration. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has become more than a royal. She has become a model of what leadership in the modern era should look like: authentic, resilient, and committed to substance over spectacle. The world has noticed. Hollywood insiders whisper about fading allegiances, about executives stepping back from former favorites. But amid that noise, Serena's voice rings clear. She isn't looking at who makes the loudest splash. She's looking at who shows the most enduring strength. And in Catherine, she has found her ultimate role model. But this is just the first half of the story. Because to truly understand Catherine's impact, and why Serena's praise signals something bigger than celebrity chatter, we must explore the deeper layers: her advocacy, her diplomacy, her environmental leadership, and the way she is shaping the monarchy's future in real time. Resilience, power, and quiet triumph. The story of Catherine, Princess of Wales, doesn't rest only on her image of grace. What makes her truly resonate with Serena Williams and millions beyond is her resilience. And it's not the kind of resilience you flaunt with press releases or red carpet displays. It's the kind that shows up in the most human of struggles and the most delicate of challenges. In early 2024, her health crisis revealed exactly that. When Catherine faced major abdominal surgery and then the devastating revelation of cancer, the world watched closely. Would she retreat into silence? Would she mask the truth behind palace walls? Instead, she did something unexpected. She sat down and spoke directly to the public in a heartfelt message, opening up about her treatment. It wasn't rehearsed glitter or carefully staged glamour. It was honest, even vulnerable. And in that vulnerability lay power. She acknowledged the reality of her journey while also projecting courage. For countless families facing similar battles, this moment of connection was profound. Catherine had turned a deeply private ordeal into a message of solidarity. Her return later in 2024 to public duties.
In just a few hours, Princess Kate will return to public duties for the first time since her cancer diagnosis. She'll join the royal family for the King's birthday parade at Buckingham Palace.
From Trooping the Colour to Wimbledon wasn't just symbolic of resilience. It was a powerful reminder that leadership isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. That's what Serena saw. That's what millions saw. Catherine had become not just a royal, but a beacon of how to face hardship with dignity. And for Serena, who had battled her own life-threatening postpartum complications in 2017, that connection struck deep. It was one survivor recognizing another. It was one mother admiring another mother's resolve under the sharp glare of the public eye. That's why Serena's words in 2025 carried such force. She wasn't praising Catherine out of politeness. She was affirming the spirit of a woman she understood. A legacy beyond appearances. To understand why Serena's choice to lift Catherine matters so much, you have to look at the bigger picture. Catherine has deliberately shaped her role not as a passive consort, but as a leader in her own right. Consider her initiatives. In 2016, she launched the Heads Together campaign alongside Prince William and Prince Harry, breaking long-held stigmas about mental health. She didn't just lend her name, she rolled up her sleeves working with experts, encouraging conversations, and pushing institutions to change the way mental health was addressed. For millions silently struggling, this was a lifeline. In 2021, she led the creation of the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood.
I'm launching the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood. Working closely with others, the centre hopes to raise awareness of why the first 5 years of life are just so important for our future life outcomes.
Emphasizing the crucial importance of the first 5 years of life. Research shows that 90% of brain development happens before the age of 5, and Catherine made sure this wasn't just a statistic left to gather dust. She transformed it into a campaign called Shaping Us, pulling charities, researchers, and communities into the conversation. Serena, a mother deeply invested in her daughter's upbringing, surely saw in this the kind of long-term vision that resonates with her own advocacy. Then came the pandemic. While much of the world felt fractured, Catherine tapped into her passion for art to launch Hold Still, a photography project capturing the resilience of ordinary people across the UK. Thousands of portraits were collected, reflecting hardship, hope, and humanity in a time of crisis. It wasn't just art, it was empathy, crystallized into a national archive of endurance. Her efforts don't stop there. Catherine has also positioned herself at the forefront of environmental advocacy through the Earthshot Prize, co-founded with Prince William. Since its launch in 2020, the initiative has awarded millions to innovators tackling climate change, turning royal influence into a global platform for sustainable change. This isn't charity as a ceremonial gesture. It's leadership redefined for the 21st century. All of these projects tell a story. Catherine doesn't need the spotlight to prove her worth. She doesn't shout about her actions. She simply delivers. That's exactly why Serena and others find her so magnetic. In an age where spectacle often overshadows substance, Catherine stands out as the rare figure whose actions carry more weight than any headline. The future of influence. So what does it mean, in 2025, for Serena Williams to publicly lift Catherine as her ultimate role model? The answer lies in the shifting landscape of celebrity and influence. Hollywood, once the unquestioned epicenter of glamour, is undergoing a reckoning. Reports suggest power players are distancing themselves from certain figures, with whispers of canceled calls and dwindling enthusiasm. Meghan Markle, once championed as a rising Hollywood force, has reportedly faced cooling support. Failed deals and lukewarm reception to projects have led some insiders to call it a quiet retreat. Against this backdrop, Serena's words cut sharply. She wasn't interested in propping up fading alliances. She was interested in aligning with authenticity. By choosing Catherine, Serena sent a message. Influence in today's world isn't about being loud or trending. It's about being steady, meaningful, and enduring. Catherine embodies that shift. Her patronages reflect causes that matter universally: mental health, early childhood, education, maternal health, sustainability, and sports. She shields her children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, from relentless scrutiny while balancing state duties with hands-on parenting. She rewears outfits not as a gimmick, but as a statement of sustainability. She visits schools, charities, and hospices not as photo opportunities, but as commitments to lasting change. This approach resonates globally. It's not confined to Britain or to royal watchers. Serena Williams, a woman who broke barriers in tennis and used her platform to champion Black maternal health, saw in Catherine a partner in values. Different arenas, same core belief: leadership must serve people, not spectacle. And that's the future of influence. Celebrities, athletes, royals, they're being measured not by noise but by impact. Catherine's example shows that it's possible to carry centuries of tradition while still staying grounded in modern relevance. Serena's praise, therefore, wasn't just personal admiration. It was a signpost pointing to where inspiration is shifting in this new era. So here we are, with Serena Williams' bold declaration echoing through headlines and conversations. It isn't about rivalry, and it isn't about spectacle. It's about a recognition that the Princess of Wales has become more than just a royal figure. She's become a role model who proves that true influence doesn't demand the spotlight. It earns it through action. Catherine's story is not one of fairy tales alone. It's a story of balancing public duty with private resilience. It's about surviving health battles with dignity. It's about launching campaigns that change the way society views mental health, childhood, and sustainability. It's about modernizing a monarchy by making it more human, more empathetic, and more relevant than ever. For Serena, and for millions watching, Catherine represents what real leadership looks like in an age of noise. It's not about who's trending, it's about who's enduring. So when Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, says Catherine is her ultimate role model, the statement carries more than admiration. It carries a message that in a world of fleeting fame and fading alliances, substance still matters. Henceforth, that's the lesson we should all take, that the most powerful revolutions don't arrive with fanfare or noise. They arrive quietly, persistently, step by step. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is living proof of that. And Serena Williams' recognition of her only cements the truth, that the future of inspiration lies not in spectacle, but in authenticity. If Catherine's journey inspires you the way it inspires Serena Williams, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and keep the conversation going in the comments below.